We are back on our bullshit. We are back on Jack's bullshit.
I'm so excited!
Okay, the Charly series literally gave us life. I have not felt the same since.
It revived us
I'm telling
as content
you,
creators.
As
I've
content
been in a
consumers.
slump. Yeah, we haven't wanted to really make video. I mean, we did a fucking video on abortion. That's how low we were. Welcome, everybody. This one is on old paper. The other one we had was like a new print, but this is well, it says $1 and it's clearly from Deseret Book, but I paid like $7 for it. That's boring. Let's just start reading.
Let's do it.
We've waited too long.
Thank y'all for putting the gravy in this gravy train.
So, recap of book 1, Charlie's dead now. That's basically it.
Yeah.
You're going to try it again? The boy asked as I walked with my son Adam across the park, carrying my latest model airplane. Just like last week, I said. Can you wait till I get my friends? He stuffed an electronic calculator in his back pocket and ran toward a group of boys playing touch football. An
electronic calculator. It wasn't one of those, like, rocks on the sticks and you do all the different...
This is quite a... This feels like Jack's leveled up a little bit in, like, the way he's started this chapter and book. Like, just kind of, like, immediately in a scene. He normally doesn't show action in any way.
No. We've already got 2 characters, dialogue... Model air, electronic calculators.
We're like, who's this boy?
Did he already say his son?
No, the boy asked as I walked with my son Adam.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a mystery right off the bat.
Oh, wow.
I put the plane down, filled it with fuel, laid out the guide wires, and sat down on the... There's this physics degree coming in. And sat down on the ground with 16-month-old Adam, who was eating blades of grass.
Not good for a child's diet, Sam.
Some, he offered, inviting me to share nature's bounty on a warm October day. Has Jack leveled up his writing?
Of course he has. He wrote a whole ass book, you know? That which we persist in doing becomes easier for us to do, not because the nature of the thing itself has changed, but because our power to do is increased. President Heber J. Grant, I still have that memorized. Ugh.
I felt like such a personal attack. If you eat grass, do you know what will become of you? I asked, ruffling his hair. You'll grow big and strong like a Brahma bull. Is that what you want? That's not good nutritional advice to give a 16-month-old. Some, he offered again, leaning toward me to place it in my mouth. I chewed and decided it wasn't half bad. Far away, barely visible through the autumn leaves, I could see the bright reds and blues of the now empty Ferris wheel where my wife and I began and ended our time together.
He sees color now. He is evolving.
I never went there anymore.
Oh.
Though he could see it. So he's at Liberty Park.
Yeah, he's at Liberty Park.
He's not that far away.
All the reds and blues of the park. You can't miss it.
Turning back, I saw a cloud of boys approaching. They stopped just outside the radius of the plane's guide wires. The first boy came to help me launch. In case he'd forgotten from the week before, I showed him how to start the engine, then returned to the control handle and nodded a go-ahead. Okay, so he's like helping kids have a nice time at the park.
Wow.
He really has evolved.
Wow.
He's not just like sitting them down for a weird religious lesson.
He's not just being an absolute dick. His wife's
we'll
passing has created something. If this affects my writing, I'll be pissed.
Yeah, we just become intimidated by writing again because Jack's got good. The plane was flying, drawing vanishing circles in the air and whining like an overgrown mosquito. In a month of practice, I'd learned to keep the plane in level flight, but level flight was not what I wanted. I banked the plane sharply upward in what was supposed to be a loop, then he's using EM dashes correctly in this book, then repeated the mistake of previous weeks. The plane went straight up, then straight down, and destroyed itself in a spectacular crash.
Who taught Jack how to use an M dash? Which one of you?
All right. But yeah, he's overusing it though now. All right. The boys cheered and laughed and left to return to their game. Like, I mean, that could have been a comma, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a temptation to, once you learn it, I have to restrain myself.
I am such an EM dash slut. It's unreal. The first boy lingered behind. You do this every week, don't you? Yes, every week. Have you ever read anything about flying model planes? He asked. No, I answered, sifting through the debris to find salvageable parts. They have books about it in the library, he said, as kindly as he could. I'm sure they do. If you read 'em, you could learn and not wreck so many planes. Probably. Oh, what a cute boy. He nervously pursed his lips and looked at the wreckage. It must take a lot of work to build a plane like this in a week. It does.
You make him sound so melancholy.
I know, in my head, the character's just like,
A sad
I
child.
think you're doing a bad job with the lines. I have artistic license in my...
Yeah.
It does. When do you do it? At night. I build them at night. But when do you sleep? Between 3 and 7 every morning. Not teaching good sleep hygiene.
No, I'm glad that Sam also sounds melancholy. That's coming across. It's good. Setting the tone.
But doesn't it sound accurate that Jack would be like, I only need 4 hours of sleep?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, it's the fall there, just like it just became fall
Oh
here.
my God,
We're
the
same
journey
timeline.
begins.
Yeah.
He looked at me as if realizing for the first time that adults are mixed up too. You can't sleep at night. I shook my head, and at the same time dumping most of the shattered plane into a trash can. That's why I build model planes, because I can't sleep at night. Okay, so he's coping with Charlie's death through model plane building. There are worse ways.
And needs to be... He's not talking about this with a therapist. He's just like venting
With
to
a
a
child.
It's good.
Although he's just said I can't sleep, he hasn't said his wife's dead, so far he's towing the line. If you go to bed, maybe you'll be able to sleep. I can't go to bed, I said, realizing the conversation would have to end soon. Oh my God, he's showing healthy boundaries with children. We did not see this at the zoo in Charlie.
Wow.
How do I explain that a bed terrifies me? Because when I lie down, I remember my wife Charlie, who died 5 weeks before. He has thrown himself into model plane building in 5 weeks. They just start
No
the
time
next
to
day.
sit with the
It's like,
feelings.
I always knew my plan of action if my wife ever died was I'm going to really immerse myself in my
Pull the
model
trigger
planes.
on all those eBay buys I've been waiting for.
Why do you spend so much time building something and then come out and wreck it?
Kids asking some really poignant
Really
questions.
My voice had a bitter edge to it. Nothing in life is permanent. Planes are no different. He looked at me. I mean, yeah, he's right.
Nothing
Little bit of
lasts.
Buddhism
We're
there.
getting, straight Taoism from the mouth of Sam.
Jack Wayland is about to try and explain the Tao. I can feel it. He looked at me, trying to figure out what was wrong, and then gave up. I'd better go now, he said, walking slowly away. He's like backing up.
You seem like a disturbed adult, the ones they warned me about.
He caught up with one of his friends. Did you ask him? Yeah, but he doesn't make any sense. You know what? I think he wants to wreck him.
Oh, I think the kid has some insight.
What's this kid been through to be so clued in?
I think Sam is having some real feelings.
On our way out of the park, we stopped and I pushed Adam in the swings. Then a family came. A husband wearing Levi's, a University of Utah sweatshirt and sneakers. A wife with long auburn hair in a ponytail that swung when she moved, in blue jeans and a long-sleeved shirt. A child, a boy older than Adam, with red sneakers and bib overalls and a Sesame Street sweatshirt. More references in this, like more modern references.
He's like, I've seen a television.
Also, is he no longer demonizing University of Utah students? That's exciting.
Oh, wow. I mean, they are people too, I guess.
In some abstract sense of the... He stood protectively beside his son while she knelt in front of the swing. Each time the boy swung toward her, she reached for him, pretending she was trying to grab his foot. Gonna get your toes, she teased, just missing with her outstretched hand, causing the boy to howl with delight. Gonna get your toes! She repeated this several times, then paused while her boy calmed down a little. Brushing aside a few maverick strands of hair, she smiled at her husband as they shared the magic of the moment and the cascading laughter of their son. I realized I'd been staring at them only when it registered that Adam, strapped in his baby swing, was complaining that he needed a push. I took one last look and returned to my duties. His writing has got better.
It has.
It has.
It has.
And I don't know why that makes me upset. But it's like now he's going to have more power.
But also, I think...
Write the book.
Write your book. You'll get better. Like Jack.
Nice.
And I want to believe that just the creative process alone can have a good effect on people.
Definitely.
I'd like to believe that.
I think so.
If anything.
Because it's making you work through... I mean, like, Jack obviously wrote himself into Sam in some ways and, like, wrote a lot of his life into Sam and the things that he wrestled with. And I just think, like, processing things, it can be a good way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice day, isn't it? The husband said. Warm for October, I replied. It was their family outing. They were happy, and I had to get away. We stopped for ice cream on the way home. My boy gets plenty of ice cream from me and too many toys from his grandparents, all to make up for us burying his mother in a windswept grave in South Dakota. It's a dark sentence. It's fun to watch him eat a dish of ice cream. Do you think Jack really likes ice cream? I just feel like ice cream is mentioned often.
It's like boomer food. Like they all just
the treat.
Ice cream.
So true, because ice cream.
Yeah,
Ice
I mean,
cream doesn't really do it for me.
no dissing ice. It's good. I like some
Yeah.
ice cream. Yeah. It's vegan.
The Brave robot is made with lab-grown whey, so it like tastes like real animal ice cream, but it's dairy-free.
Where do you get that?
Harmons and Sprouts.
Hit him up.
It's fun.
In his defense, a grave in South Dakota is a very grim picture
Very grim,
to paint. He's doing a lot of showing, not telling.
I know.
He has not said Sam is sad. He has created a scene through which we understand that Sam is sad. Bravo, Jack. Bravo.
Damn it, he's not a patron. He's not going to see. He's probably watching one like, no, if they could just read Sam, like they would realize. They would realize. We stopped for ice cream on the way. Oh, it's fun to watch him eat a dish of ice cream. He does it with gusto. We've worked out an agreement. As long as I keep it moving fast enough, he'll let me use the spoon. But if things slow down, he takes things into his own hands, and the spoon isn't necessary. What a handsome boy he is, even with ice cream dribbling down his chin. He has Charlie's eyes, 2 dark olives staring at me. Who is this fucking writer? Who
abducted Jack?
He's saying kind things about his son.
He got a ghostwriter.
Oh my god, what if? Since returning to Salt Lake City, I'd categorized each of his features into hers and mine, and had him marked off in my mind the way 4-H clubs do with cuts of meat from a beef carcass.
I forgot that 4-H was like a big deal.
What is
back
that?
then. It's like a farming and agriculture
so you like all
club that they do in
share-
high schools
Oh, really?
and college, I guess. Yeah, they're just like, we're gonna raise
like,
livestock.
teach you how to-
and, yeah,
That is interesting.
very interesting.
My school wouldn't even do any kind of like dissection or any like they were
Whoa,
very
no dissection.
No, they wouldn't. It would be considered cruel, I think.
What?
We
What about the frogs who donated their bodies to science?
We were pretty pro animal. I mean, like, yeah, Europe is ahead of American animal rights,
Nice.
and obviously we don't have like the Western America agriculture romanticization. We went home and had lunch. My mother rightfully accused me of spoiling his appetite. In the afternoon, I helped my father clean out the garden, cutting down the corn stalks, pulling out the roots of the season's crops, clearing the ground. He's doing really well for someone 5 weeks into his wife dying. Like, I'm very impressed with the way he's taking... I mean, it's really cool that he's, like, been working on model planes. I just feel like for the first 5 weeks, it's not necessarily the time to process. Like, sometimes you do just need to distract yourself for a bit so that it doesn't swallow you up. And, like, he's spending time with his family. He's, like, doing stuff. Like, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do when the harvest is over, when summer is gone, when winter descends. We have to pull out the old roots and think about next summer. Ooh. He's using... Are you seeing this?
He has grown up before our eyes. He has matured as a writer, as an artist.
What if there are no more summers? What if all that is left are cold grey winters? That's going to be the question of the book, isn't it?
Is this just a diatribe on how seasons happen? Well, there's a tilt of the planet.
So much more advanced, though. A little later, it was time for Adam's nap. I went in and lay down with him. I fell asleep, but he didn't. He left me with only a stuffed beagle for company. When I awoke, I drove to the hobby shop and bought another model plane. Next week would also be long.
Okay, so I've been thinking more about it, and really, like, anytime you're, like, practicing an art, especially writing or, like, drawing, what you find is, like, where does inspiration come from? Like, when you sit down to write, like, where does this come from? You inevitably have to draw from your own life experiences, and once you're regularly drawing from your life experience, you're just, like, paying more attention to the things that are happening around you. And then I think that really has a subtle effect of breaking down preconceptions you have about the way things should be. Because that's the problem with writing, is so many people, like, write the way, like, this, like, this idea in their head, but that's not how people behave, and so it comes across as hokey or terrible, or like the last book. But it sounds like he's spending more time just, like, literally observing life as it is, rather than how he just assumed it would be.
It's like, so far, this is decent writing. Like, I have no real issue with it. Like, yeah, I'm very impressed. The next day was Sunday. My father woke me up at 7 as I lay curled up on an old sofa in the basement workroom where I build my planes. During the night, I made good progress on my newest model, meaning that I had been asleep for only 3 hours when he came to wake me. He had to shake me out of my dream. I always dreamed of Charlie.
Oh. Is he only 18 months old?
Who?
His son?
16 months old, yeah.
He's already, like, crawling out, and I forget how long developmental periods last.
Wait, what do you mean? He's talking about his dad waking him up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
You're like imagining a 16-year-old, like, 16
I was
months.
like, what?
Dad!
Yeah, like, what the hell?
I got ready and we walked to priesthood meeting. It is comforting to be with a group of priesthood holders and sense the strength in their lives. Priesthood is my favourite meeting now, because nobody has his wife next to him there. Oh. That does touch on something real about Mormon culture, though. Like, it's so much about, like, husband and wife, that's everything. Mm-hmm. And it probably is hard, like, going to social things where everyone's in a couple and you're not allowed to really be friends with women.
No.
After church, Bishop Andrews called me into his office and asked how I was doing and what I would like to do in the ward. I told him I wanted to spend as much time as possible with Adam, but would be willing to be a home teacher. Doesn't everyone have to be a home teacher? Maybe this was back when they didn't. Sam, one more thing. We have a single adult program in the ward. They have firesides and other activities. You should go to them. I shook my head. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Well, maybe later then. And Sam, someday I hope you'll want to find yourself another wife. It's been 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
His wife's body's not even... I was going to say not even cold, but she is in South Dakota.
I stared at the floor. You never met my wife, did you? She was fucking hot. No. Someone like her only comes along once every 100 years, so I have plenty of time before I need to start looking. Your boy needs a mother, he suggested gently. I don't mind if he has a mother. In fact, I want him to have a mother, as long as I don't have to be related to her. I don't think this idea that, like, he needs a mother is that strong. It's like, maybe he needs, like, strong female influences in his life, but it sounds like he has a grandmother, 2 grandmothers. Yeah. I don't think that's a good reason for, like, rushing dating in any way.
No.
Well, think about it, he said, standing up to shake my hand on the way out. And if you ever need any help, just call me. I'm as near as the phone, and I want to help. Do you know anything about flying model airplanes? I asked as I left.
Okay, so this man doesn't have a cell phone. This is the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. Did he just admit not having a life at all? Just always hanging out by the phone?
I'm as near as the phone. No, he's just saying, like, I'm only a phone call away.
Okay.
But yeah, realistically, what's he doing? He's either in his office or he's at home. After church, Adam and I had lunch with Charlie's parents. The nice thing about grandparents is they think that's nice that they're hanging out with her heathen grandparents. Oh no, are they gonna get converted in this book? I really hope not.
They better not.
The nice thing about grandparents is they think everything their grandchild does is cute. Even when he knocks over his milk twice, drops his plate of food on the floor, and smears butter in his hair. After lunch, the 3 of us went through a collection of Charlie's pictures. We were working on a book of remembrance, deciding what to put in. And this is the Good Citizenship Award she won in the 6th grade, her mother proudly explained, showing me the 30-cent piece of blue ribbon she'd saved for all those years.
She turned in 30 fellow communists in her class.
It's nice, Mum. Let's put it in the book. Also, he calls him a mum. It's a different time. I feel like boomers did that, didn't they? They would, like, call their partner's parents mum and dad.
Yeah, lots of people who get married still do that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
If you're married, do you do that? I can't imagine doing that.
I think a lot do.
That is not...
Especially Mormon families.
It's not
then
a
it's
thing
like,
in England.
you are my father-in-law. We're like sealed together.
Weird. Sam, she said, holding up a picture of a skinny 9-year-old. Did I ever tell you about the time I baked a cake? She kept teasing me about licking off the frosting, sticking her tongue out. She got too near and she did lick it. Of course, I scolded her, but she said, "But Mum, my tongue slipped." That sounds like her, I smiled. The next picture was of a grown-up Charly, taken at a farewell party in New York before her family moved to Utah, just before I met her.
The light had not even entered her eyes yet.
Well, she looked terrific, according to Sam.
What? A heathen woman you couldn't see in her countenance?
Weird.
That she was not yet converted to the Lord?
May I have the picture? I asked. Of course. She was beautiful, wasn't she? Very. I put the picture in my wallet. You miss her, don't you? Very much, I said quietly. So do I, Sam. So do I.
You know, that's kind of surprising. He had nothing but bad things to say about her in the last book.
It's almost like Jack time traveled, watched our entire Charlie series, has implemented every criticism we made, and now we look like a couple of idiots.
I mean, technically, he hasn't given me a reason to like Sam. At best, I just pity him now.
Yeah, but he's even pitiable. That's a massive character development, Tanner. Monday I went to work. He's fucking back at work. I'm so impressed.
You gotta.
It was my 3rd week on the computer center staff at the University of Utah, doing routine programming and spending a few hours a day as a program consultant. That means that frustrated students throw their printouts on my desk and complain the computer doesn't work right. We slowly go through the error statements the computer so graciously kicks out and we clean it up.
Oof, that's an old sentence.
Actually, I find great comfort dealing with the cold logic of computer languages, we know. Taped on my desk, like he's already like sorted his son's features into like Charlie. And taped on my desk at work.
Binary, Charlie, Sam, one or the other.
There is something progressive happening here and I'm freaked out. Taped on my desk at work is a quotation from Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein.
Quoting a non-Mormon. One of the strongest desires that leads men to art and science is escape from everyday life with its painful crudity and hopeless dreariness from the fetters. This is Jack. Jack's been inspired by this quote.
Physics.
Yeah.
He's a man
Art and science.
Art and science.
From the fetters of one's own ever-shifting desires, a finely tempered nature longs to escape from personal life into the world of objective perception and thought. And that is where I escape every day from 8 to 5. That was fucking good.
Here's the thing.
I was not expecting that much
see
growth.
that?
Yeah, take it. What's the thing?
It's Mormons like love using quotes by people like Einstein or
I know.
whoever to like validate their thing. But if they actually understood, not that I understand the physics of Albert Einstein, but I've got a slight look into like the philosophical implications of his work.
Right.
Some of it being like the theory of literal relativity, that is to say that everything exists in relation to other things and that there's no just like one singular objective truth, like even time is distorted depending on the relationship of things.
But I imagine Jack knows probably more than us about physics that Albert Einstein, you know, like he I'm sure he could easily have an appreciation for.
Judging from the action scenes of the last book and knowing that BYU Idaho professors don't have to do research or be relevant in the field, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
He has a
math
physics
guy.
degree from like the real
university,
like a non-BYU university, you know. I really am shocked. Like, I think that read like a normal chapter of a book. There was so much in the first book where it was like so many sentences felt clunky. He was like telling, not showing, but that just on its own, just a very reasonable chapter of a book. You wouldn't think this is this person's first book. Last book, you did get that sense.
Yes.
Incredible.
We're seeing it. We're seeing his escape from the everyday life with its painful crudity.
He
his art.
wrote Charlie 1, and now he's realized.
I bet it's helping him process his emotions. Like I said, he's observing his life and drawing and being like, okay, I should write some of this. And how do these characters resolve their things?
I think he did write a book after this, though, about someone struggling with a porn addiction.
I mean, I'm sure it's all going to be cringy as hell. Like,
but
the progress is like this, and it's like, yeah, we need you to be here, Jack, but, you know, we'll celebrate the
We had yelling at a stranger child at the zoo last book, so now we've got...
At least when he's pitiful, he's not so harmful. And who knows, maybe there's some real character development here.
I wonder what the length of time was between him... Like, did he write this book?
I bet he caught the bug and just never stopped.
Yeah, this says 1981, so I think he just wrote it, like, the next year. Well, that's when it was published, though. Yeah, but I was wondering if, like, Charlie was a huge success, and then, like, so 5 years later, he was like...
Yeah.
Anyway, you can
I
tell
bet
that
he
he's
caught the
advanced.
bug.
Yeah, he did. Because he wrote a bunch of books after that.
And he's telling us right there. He did it once, and it became his escape. And now he can't quit. He just keeps writing these things for us. And himself, most of all.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Very excited to have begun this journey.
I'm excited, too. This is really nice. Maybe we'll end up big fans.
I'm I was not expecting this. I was not expecting to feel this way.
We'll see where it goes.
Bye. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks for supporting us. We love you.